I've had a few people ask me this question since I bought my 2004 Cobra. They asked about shipping and what it entailed and things like that. They sent me messages on Instagram or reached out some other way. So I wanted to do a video about how it exactly works with shipping, things you need to know, things you want to avoid, and the difference between brokers and carriers and how all of that works. Now, the unfortunate reality is that when you buy a car, dream car, or a car in general, sometimes it's not always close by, and the only viable option, such as in my case when I bought my 2004 Terminator, was to have it shipped. I bought it last year, summer of 2020. It was in southern Florida. It was in Homestead, Florida, which is about as far south in Florida as you can get. And for those of you that don't know, I live in Maine. It was about 1,700 miles. For me to go down and drive the car back wasn't a good option due to COVID restrictions at the time, and it was just more viable for me to have the car shipped. There are two basic ways to have a car shipped. It comes down to either using a broker or a carrier. The biggest difference between carriers and brokers is that carriers operate the trucks that will ship your vehicle, and brokers coordinate shipments using a network of carriers. What that means is a carrier is a company that owns all of their trucks. They will send one of their company trucks to your location or where you're getting the vehicle, and it will send it to where it's going to from there, all under the umbrella of their own company. What a broker does is they're a company that takes jobs, or they put out jobs for other people to accept. In my situation, I use Amerifreight. They are a broker. What they do is like in my case, I had a car that needed to be picked up in Florida and shipped to Maine. So they put that as a job offer out on what they call the board. And other people out there working independently, or maybe other carrier companies, can see these jobs that are available and either pick them up if it fits their driving schedule. The company that picked mine up, I'm not sure of the actual company or who he worked for, but he was an independent truck driver as far as I know. He was in Florida at the time, saw the job listing to pick this car up and to bring it up to Maine, and his shop was actually only 10 minutes away from where I actually live, so that worked out great for me. If you do a search online for shipping companies, you will get quite a few results. Some of the big ones are U-Ship, Amerifreight, and there are quite a few more. I recently went on Amerifreight again to try to go through the process of having a car shipped, not for the purpose of actually buying another one as much as I would like to, but for the purpose of seeing what has changed from when I did this a year ago to now. Before, when I went to Amerifreight, and it's probably like this with a lot of these broker companies, so I'm not, trying to crap on Amerifreight because the service overall was pretty good. But the point that I'm trying to convey is that when I did this before, you had the option to pick the distance, whether you wanted an open or a closed trailer, and it would spit out a quote for roughly what it would cost. And I'll get back to the quote thing in just a minute, because that isn't quite accurate either. But to my point, it would spit out a quote for what it would cost to have the car shipped. When I recently went back and did this, they wouldn't do that anymore. You basically had to put in your info, your name, address, email, that stuff. And when you do that now, you get completely bombarded with phone calls and emails and everything from all of these companies that want to pick the car up. Like, we can go and get it like today, right now. The short version of that is that they won't give you a quote online anymore. So what I'm saying is, if you put in your information regarding your phone number or email or anything like that, expect to be bombarded with a bunch of calls. If you just want to get a general quote on what it would cost to ship something, I would suggest calling the company directly and talking with someone to try to avoid doing it online, because if you do it online, your phone is just going to blow up for probably days after that, like mine did, just because I was looking at just a quick quote on something. So that's one thing that has changed. I'm not sure if that happens with a direct carrier. It probably does not, because you're dealing directly with them and only them, versus a broker where people are fighting for the jobs overall. So it's whoever gets the job first that gets the money for it. So it's competitive. So they want to get their information out to you first and their quotes, hoping that you pick them over someone else. Now, if you do go to one of these sites and you find one that doesn't require you to put in your information, such as your phone number and email and all of that, and one that may provide you with a just straight up quote without having to do any of that, what you have to keep in mind is that the price that they spit out is most likely not the cost that you're actually going to pay. For my case, having the car shipped about 1,700 miles on an open carrier cost me about, I want to say it was $1,100 total. What the quote was, it was around $650 to $700. The reason why that changes is because there are other factors that come into play with all of this. One of the big things is that the individual truckers that pick these cars up, they have to factor in costs on their end. How much driving do they have to do to go and get the car, the overall price of gas, things like that become a factor. One of the issues that I ran into when I spoke with Amerifreight was that they told me that the amount of truckers available at the time was very low. So that meant that it's basically a supply and demand thing. Lots of people demanding cars being shipped with a low supply of truckers available to do it. As you know, it makes prices go up. Another thing that you need to be really aware of when it comes to dealing with brokers, I can only speak for my experience with Amerifreight, but I am sure this works in a very similar way with many other broker type companies with shipping automobiles. And that is, there is a limited amount of space on a truck. Like in my case, my car was being picked up in Florida. He had other cars to pick up along the way. He only had X amount of space on the vehicle. So that means that when they say we have an available truck for you to pick it up on this day and this is what it will cost, you have to get back to them within a certain amount of time in order to get that spot on that vehicle for it to be shipped up. In my case, I had an unfortunate incident happen where I had a closed trailer available for less money than I paid for the open trailer that it ended up going on. But by the time that Amerifreight was able to get in touch with me, because I was at work that day and I was able to get back in contact with them, that spot had already been filled and I lost it. So that means it went on to the next person that was available to take the job, which is the truck that it did go on. So keep that in mind, that if you really want the car shipped as soon as possible, and if you're hard to get a hold of, like at me for where I work, it's really hard for me to just accept calls and things like that. I can't have my personal cell phone on me, so it makes it difficult dealing with things like this. So keep that in mind if you're looking at having a vehicle shipped, that you are available and easily accessible when it comes to them getting a hold of you short notice, or you'll be playing the waiting game of waiting for the next available transport truck to be able to pick your vehicle up. A lot of people may also wonder, what should I go with? Should I go with an open trailer or a closed trailer? But that's up to you. It depends on the vehicle you're having shipped, the condition that it's in, and the amount of money that you want to pay. Obviously, having a closed trailer is going to cost more money in most cases, except for what I just mentioned a minute ago in the video, where I would have ended up paying less. But the point is that it all depends on the vehicle. With my Cobra, it had a few rock chips on it. It wasn't 100% perfect, like the exterior condition. All the videos that you see on the car looks really nice. I know where there's scratches and paint blemishes and rock chips and stuff like that. But if I was buying a pristine, really low mileage, all original Cobra, I would have had it shipped in a closed trailer. But you get that option when dealing with a broker. You can pick either a closed trailer pickup or an open carrier like I had. And you also get to choose a time frame. Do you need it picked up within the next week or two, or do you need it picked up as soon as possible? Those are overall factors that will determine how much you're going to pay for the total shipping of the vehicle. If you have any additional questions, make sure to leave it down in the comments and I'll try to answer it as best as I can. I'm not a car shipping expert. I can only speak from my perspective of what I went through with getting my Cobra shipped last year. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave it a like. It really does help. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to sub to see more on my 2004 Terminator. As the day that this video gets released on, it is being dynoed either today actually or the next day. So I am going to have an update video very soon on the dyno numbers. I'm doing an actual video for the dyno. At least I'll have footage. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to actually go because it's going to be done short notice. But there will be some video and I'll have my reaction and everything else after I pick the car up. But before that, this Wednesday on the 9th, September 9th, I am doing a live stream. It will be my second live stream. I will be going over the dyno results with the VMP Gen 3R at the time of the live stream. The actual dyno video and my reaction to how I like the car with the added power will be after the live stream. So if you want to get the information as soon as possible, the live stream will be Wednesday the 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you guys there. If you can make it, great. If not, you can go back and watch it later on, or of course you can catch the actual video of when I pick the car up and drive it home after it's all done. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching.